like sports domes for, you know, baseball or football or whatever kind of events that, you know, recreational type stuff. And then out here is another apartment structure as well. So,
will there be a type of diet promoted?
Say again?
Like a type of diet for people to have?
The diet is really, in this type of society, we're going to have access to the highest integrity food possible, with the best tasting food as well.
Do you want to know if you got
So,
ribeye and stuff for the morning?
You know, I mean, in this type of society,
I would think so.
being it's humanistic, we're not going to have stuff that's going. I wouldn't foresee having stuff that has all these questionable preservatives in there that leads to cancer and Parkinson's disease. So it makes sense to have everything organically synthesized to where it's highly digestible and just extremely nutritious, but yet it may taste like a steak burger or something, you know. And also with nanotechnology, as Jock describes in some of his stuff, with nanotechnology, we can create, say, a steak at the molecular level and build it just with the elements that it has in there without killing a cow. So that's kind of the way of the future right there.
They're actually working on an in vitro technology right now over in England. They were able to actually grow a kind of like this sinewy type meat product. You wouldn't want to eat it, but it's the first step where they're actually just able to produce it at a molecular level without, you know, extracting anything from an animal at all. And right now, what they're working on is how to actually exercise this, you know, this material to actually give it a more, you know, meat, you know, kind of consistency to it, so where it would be more palatable and edible for humans, of course. Anyway,
so
not
yeah,
to interrupt.
that's pretty much. I don't know. You guys have any questions about the concept? Or, yeah.
I love the concept. It's totally Bucky Fuller and all that good stuff. But what I'd like to know is, how do you envision this happening from what we have now?
Oh, that's a good one.
How do we get from there, from here to there?
That's a good one. I think Victor made a great point with the 10% thing.
Ultimately, what's going to happen is that we're going to have to get a consensus large enough where people say, okay, we're willing to give it a try, because a lot of people are still caught up in the capitalistic paradigm. So what you do is you start out with one city where it can be monitored 24 hours a day with live streaming, and have a lottery for people that want to volunteer from around the world, take place in the lottery, be able to live in that city according to the capacity of it that we've generated and built with it. And then from there, after running like a trial of about a year or two, and people see, you give the people option, you know, is this something that you want to try? Just something that you think we just should go back to money. And so if it doesn't pass the trial with the people, then we can't have it exist, because people just tear it down anyway. But if the people say, okay, man, that looks good, you know, I want to try it. So you're keeping everything transparent. And then there you go with city number 2. And then after that, after city number 2, you're probably going to see an explosion of cities, because nobody's going to be left out the loop. But these cities can be put all around the world. You can knock down the old ones and build these. In 10 years, the whole world can be living in these.
Okay, but for example, I like the slide that talked about how many people live in SanDiego now and how many square miles and what it could be if we did this kind of stuff. Again, right now, in our system that we have the coast owns this property and the city owns this and somebody else owns that, and it's all portioned out. And then people have buildings that they own. So if you wanted to do this and you had a whole bunch of people wanting to do it, but the people who have the rights, on paper at least, to the land itself say, hell no, we're not doing that because we have it and we're not going to give it to you. How do we, I mean, is the idea here that we're going to reach such a chaotic state of internal breakdown that we're all going to basically be starting from scratch?
Yes.
Because I really don't see the transition with the 1%
You gotta have a lot of pain
to
before you get
40%.
consensus to do something else. We kind of see the revolutionary spirit kind of spinning around.
And to be honest with you, that's kind of where I see it going to. Like, one of my main passions is primitive wilderness survival. I've taken some of these guys out foraging. I'm a big time forager, all about learning about how to live directly off the resources, off the land, just for stuff like that, what you're talking about.
And so I've tried to explain what little I know about the Zeitgeist movement to friends, and I'm not an expert, and I defer to my sons, but they always come back to the same thing. Well, but who's going to own the land, and who's going to decide what to do, and who's going to? It's like, well, I don't know.
Well, you know, if we are fortunate enough to get to the point to be able to do this, then it would be part of the policy that the land belongs to the people, because the motto of the whole Venus Project, Zeitgeist movement, when it comes to property, is that all the Earth resources are the property of all Earth people. So nobody.
I understand that completely. And in like Amazonian societies, or some of the ones all over the world that are still very tiny and very, very self-sufficient, they don't own the land in the sense that we understand owning. But when you're talking about thousands of people and an infrastructure that needs some structure. I mean, you have
how do you? Humans are the only animals that play to live on the earth. I mean, what if I say go out to the center of the ocean? Do you own that? Who owns it? But you can stay out there as long as you want, right?
Yeah,
you can do the same with land. It's the same thing.
Like
yeah, it's called maritime law. You can make maritime law apply to land. So that's how they got around being able to have gambling legal. In Mississippi, they said, well, if it's built on water, you can gamble. If it's built on land, you're going to prison. So it's stupid, but it's just the reality that we're living in. So we are living with outdated modes of thinking. And so when what you do is you just do it. When people ask, it belongs to everybody. But this is just a trial run. When you get your city, it'll belong to you, and it belongs to your kids, and it belongs to your grandkids, and so on and so forth. So.
Yeah, and I see the city's concepts initially starting in areas that don't have essentially a population, So you're starting from the ground up and proving that it works. So, another great way to start out, I think, would be to incorporate the city system with, applying it for Social Security disability people that can live there, and then for veterans that, work in the city, because that would appeal to the populace. Everyone wants to help, a combat veteran that's lost a leg, or someone who's inputted into the system for so long, and they're living on Social Security disability, barely making ends meet. So I think something like that would be very appealing to the populace and, much of the governmental structure as well. So that's an angle to start out, and then just grow from there.
Yeah, but I mean, once you put it together and have it televised, people love watching TV, that'll be the greatest, reality TV of all,
And I think that's the big kick to it, too. You want to have this live video web stream at all times, because you really want to show that, hey, this works. So that if the government does crack down on it, and wants to eradicate it, then, it'll cause a big storm, a big uproar, because people would see, hey, this is a peaceful city. What are you guys doing?
See, I think instead what might happen, instead of just build a circular city in a certain area, you'd have pockets of society, like parts of SanDiego, develop, kind of like how Cardigo started in SanDiego, along with other places around the planet. And then you start seeing like certain things marketed towards retired people, like basic needs met, food, water, and shelter, at maybe 75 and up or 65 and up. And then we start to slowly lower the age range where it's available to people that are 65, people that are 60. And then people start to realize, we can actually start to live this way. So over time and over generations, you see that starting to manifest. Instead of maybe just, okay, in Los Angeles or San Diego, we're building one big city. It's all volunteer, because the resources to do that are going to come from all around the planet. And I think pockets of society will probably develop first, but it's a possibility.
I think a lot of these things will potentially overlap as well. It'll be an emergent process.
I've heard some groups already for Venus Project are raising up some money to buy land and start it up themselves. So it'd be kind of like a co-op, with the land.
Isn't that the New Zealand project?
Yeah, it's something like that. That's what I
Yeah.
heard. So you would start seeing maybe a sample city starting there. And I'm telling you, once more people see this, you're going to see a lot more people wanting to be a part of it, I think.
Oh yeah, the thing about what's holding us back is that everything is information.